welcome to Bake Along with Lisa. Today we will be making fork biscuits. Now I'll be showing you today how to make 3 different varieties of them. I'm going to be making the chocolate ones, but as we go along you can make the plain ones, you can make lemon ones, or you can make the chocolate ones like I am. So first we need to put our ovens on. So if you put your oven on, if it's a fan assisted oven, to 160 degrees C, non-fan assisted 180. Then the next step will be to grease 2 baking trays. So we need, hopefully we're going to make 16 biscuits, so you'll need 2 baking trays for that. So I will grease those in a minute. I have got 100 grams of softened butter in here, 50 grams of caster sugar. Now if you're making the lemon version, you need to add the grated rind of 1 lemon into your caster sugar. Give it a good mix. Now I've got 120 grams of self-raising flour. If you're baking the plain ones or the lemon ones, you need 150 grams of self-raising flour. Or if you're using plain flour, then you just need to add a teaspoon of baking powder to your plain flour. Give it a good mix round, just make sure it's all nice and mixed in. And then, because I'm making the chocolate ones, I've got 15 grams of cocoa powder, which will all be sieved in at the same time as the flour. Other than that, you need a fork, a mixing bowl, and a wooden spoon, and a trusty sieve. So to start off, hopefully your butter's nice and soft. I've had mine out of the fridge for a little while, but if you give it a good mix, make sure it's nice and soft, easy to mix round. So you see mine's nice and soft and nice and pale. So yeah, just mix it until it's nice and soft and you can easily mix it around the bowl. Then you need to add your caster sugar. So add in the sugar. All in. If you're making the lemon ones, this is where you add in your lemon rind as well. So just the grated rind of 1 lemon. And mix it all in thoroughly. Give it a really good beat until you can't see any of the sugar anymore. So this is a nice simple recipe because again we're only using 3 ingredients. Great for making with the kids. They'll love doing the forking bit at the end. So yeah, once your butter's all mixed in, all you need to do now is get your sieve, chuck in your flour. I'm going to pop in my cocoa powder at the same time and sieve that all in. So as I say, nice and dead easy, really straightforward. They make really lovely gifts. So if the kids want to make a gift for grandparents, absolutely fine. You can also freeze them. So if you want to make a big batch of them, you can put some into a freezer bag, freeze them for up to a month. So they're a really good biscuit. They do keep well. So once you've sieved all your flour in, as I say, because I'm making the chocolate ones, I've got cocoa. If you're just making the plain ones, just sieve all your normal flour in and give it a good mix. Now the mix is going to be quite stiff to start with, so mix it around as much as you can, and then we're going to get our hands in there and form it together with our hands into a nice dough. So you see it's starting to come together. Just keep mixing. This is where you get a really strong arm. So if you don't want to have to lift weights, don't worry about it. Just mix some of this up and get really good really good, strong arm muscles. Now I'm just going to get a knife out and just quickly take this off here because I want to make sure that all the butter is all mixed in with the flour. And then I'm going to get my hands in there and bring it all together. So it should start coming away from the sides of the bowl, kind of mixing itself together. When you get to this stage, where you can't see any of the butter anymore, it's not obvious, and it's starting to come together in bigger lumps, this is the point where you just need to get your hands in there and get a bit mucky, just because it's much easier to bring it all together than with a spoon. So I'll just tip the bowl so you can see. So you just kind of bring it together. You don't want to knead it like bread. You literally just want to bring it together, clean up the side of the bowl so it's just in one dough. And that is how easy it is. So literally, we've got our dough. Now we don't need to chill it, so it doesn't need to go in the fridge. I am just going to grab some butter from the fridge so I can grease my baking trays, but you lovely people will already have done that. And if I'd been a bit more organised, I'd have already done it, but we won't worry. So, just going to grease my trays just so that our lovely biscuits don't stick to them, because that is frankly the last thing that we want, is sticky biscuits. So the aim is, leave that there. The aim is that we want walnut sized bits of dough. So about that sort of size. You can see that. Roll it into a ball. Then we want 16 of them. So 16 balls. So 8 on each tray. And you want to leave a nice gap. So I tend to do 3, 2, 3. Just because then it's nice and even. And they should bake nice and easily. But as you can see, it's a dead easy recipe to do. And you get some yummy biscuits out of it at the end. And in these times, who doesn't want yummy biscuits? No, I do. So, I'll say, it's very easy just to roll them into balls. And if you find that at the end you've got mixture left over, you can make some more. Or you can just add a bit of the mixture if you only want to make 16 to the ones that are there. But knowing my luck, I will have... Also, if you want to be really fussy, you can go about actually weighing out your mixture to make sure that they're all the same, like they do on Bake Off. But frankly, we're not on Bake Off. And for me, that's much too time consuming. I don't mind having some that are slightly larger than others. So it's just a rough size. So you see, we're getting there. But it's a nice easy dough to work with. You don't have to do much to it. And it's not very sticky either, which is what I like. Not overly keen on doughs that are really sticky, so that they get all stuck to your hands. See, my hands are relatively clean, so it's this is my ideal for someone who has mild OCD and doesn't really like really yucky hands. This is great. So yeah, we're just going to crack on and do a few more, and then if you've got children who are doing this with you, they can do the fun bit in the minute. So you'll need a little ramekin full of just some cold water from the tap that we're going to dip our fork in, and we'll get the nice indentations on our biscuit from our fork, hence the name Fork Biscuits. And our recipe today is a Mary Berry Queen of Baking recipe. So if they don't taste nice, you can blame Mary. This is her recipe. It's got nothing to do with how you bake them. It's all in the recipe. So you get on Instagram and Twitter and you tell Mary that you baked her fork biscuits. And Stuart stood behind the camera rolling his eyes at me. So, nearly done. So my hands are now starting to get a tad bit on the warm side. But 2 more. And then we'll have our perfect 16, hopefully. So, just the right amount. So if you are baking these at the same time, or if you watch this later and decide to bake your own, please do tag me in them. I'd love to see what other people have been baking. So I'm just going to move that over here and bring in my fork, trusty fork, just a little bit of tap water. And you just want to dip your fork in the water, just dip it in, give it a little shake, and then just press down. Just press down quite lightly, and it leaves a nice little indent in the top. And that's how you get the pretty pattern. So this is the bit that the kids like doing. You don't have to flatten it completely, just press it down so that you get the fork mark, just enough. Because what they'll do is as they bake, they'll just spread out a bit. They should get a bit bigger. But you just want to dip your fork in the water each time so it doesn't stick. And then just keep going for the rest of them. And then by the time you've done that, your oven will be nice and warm. That's the small one. And we'll be popping these into the oven for 15 minutes. So I'm not going to stand here and talk to you live for 15 minutes because you'll all have switched off by that point. So what I'll do is as soon as these have gone in the oven, I will be back in 15 minutes when I take them out to then show you what they should look like. So, you should have some nice fork biscuits on your tray, 2 trays of them, pop them in the oven, 15 minutes. If you're making the plain ones or the lemon ones, they should be lightly golden brown. So you don't want a dark brown colour or they'll be incredibly crispy, not as nice. These they'll just go a very light brown colour. It's always harder to tell with the chocolate ones, but as I say, put them on for 15 minutes, maybe check them after 12. 160 for fan, 180 for non-fan. So I'm going to put mine in now and I will see you again in 15 minutes.